Yeah. And for someone my size, sitting on an airplane is not ever fun. My knees touch the front of the chair beside me, the shoulders of the person. It's a big pain to fly. Guess I'm going to have to get richer so I can fly first class. And a lot of planes are getting rid of first class now. You know, well, at least the cheap ones that I fly, you know. All I know is when you get on an airplane, and if the stewardess is singing anything by Patsy Cline, I'm getting off. See, only old people get that, because, see, Patsy Cline was in an airplane wreck. Or Richie Valens, or any of those. Yeah. Well, I flew an airplane from Texas A&M to Houston. And I told her, I said, are we flying one of them Buddy Holly killing airplanes? And she's like, what? I'm like, never mind. So we got on, and she starts putting up the gangplank, and I'm like, she's like, oh, well, the captain says it's going to be too rough to have any kind of drink service, so there's no need for us to go. I'm like, dude, if it's going to be that rough, I don't want to go. You know, let me off. Or the one where they say, well, they ask your weight. Well, how much do you weigh? Well, we got to figure out, well, they figure out how much gas we got. Here's an extra 20. Fill it up. Yeah. I'm like the Pope when I get off the airplane. You know, the Pope gets down and kisses the tarmac. Because what we're trying to do is when the judge says, yes, she's in violation, I now attach my name to all of those properties or all of those assets through this thing called a writ of attachment, which now puts me as one of her creditors if we were to win this lawsuit. And it would go on everything. So she now has a $10,000 lien, and I come in my place on everything she has. So she's got this house, I might come in as third lien for 10 grand. She's got a sweet Trans Am, you know, the kind with the eagle on the hood, free and clear. I'm now the first lien on it. She's got an airplane where she's got 8 liens. I now come in as the 9th lien. All right, so my attachment becomes a lien on everything that she owns or everything that we can track. And until she pays that lien off, it stays so that I get paid at some point by the sale of one of her properties or one of her assets. That's a better sale. So if she sells that Trans Am, they're going to say, okay, you sold it for $6 grand. You've got a lien to this Raymond Moslin. We got to pay him off. All right? But here's what's even better. Not only does it block her sale, it attaches to her person. So it blocks her purchases as well because it's already a lien in place. She goes out and says, hey, I want to buy a Corvette, and GMAC says, yeah, we'll loan you the money to buy this Corvette. Oops, wait a minute. You got a $10,000 personal judgment against you. It would be first on this Corvette. We would be second, and therefore we're not going to loan you the money. So not only are we blocking her sale on some of the deals, we're blocking her purchase through this general lien. Now, there is a statutory version. That's a law, and we're not going to really get into it, but this is the inheritance tax. That's the inheritance tax.
Quick question on your last example just there.
All right.
So if she sold that car for $6,000 and your loan went,
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to catch that because I said 10 grand is the lien.
yeah, so
I was thinking, in that example, you're right. She couldn't sell the car for $6,000. I was thinking 5 when I said that, but I originally started this whole story with a $10,000 lien. So for those of you at home that caught it, and the one that did catch it in here, yeah, there was a slight mess up because I said 6,000. But that's a good catch. Technically, she couldn't sell the Trans Am for $6 grand because she owes me 10.
so there's no way to piece it back to.
No. I hate it when people say there's no way. There's always a way.
It's
It's very unlikely. She could come to me and say, I want to sell my Trans Am for $6,000. Can I pay you the $6,000 and you release the lien on this car? Yes, I might do that. You know, she can give me a good sob story as to why, because I can release the lien anytime I want.
But you release it for her to do that and then put it back on, or?
I would either leave it on one of the others, or I could make it a four. Yeah, I could release one asset if I wanted to, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose of me getting paid.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is a way that could happen. Probably not. Now, there are all kinds of other things that could happen we could get into. She could come to me and go, hey, look, I owe you $10,000. I'm never going to pay you. I'll just keep all my stuff. Or I'll give you $2,000 in cash right now. Yeah, I'll take the cash, release all the liens, and we'll move on. So that can happen too.
But the lien is all or nothing. That's what was one
Yes.
thing, like, she couldn't sell it, give you the $6,000, then she still got a $4,000 lien.
No, because she has to clear the lien off that car to sell it. So it somehow have to take the whole lien off to sell it. Now, once she sold it and cleared the lien, then they come off all the other stuff. So she sold the house and paid me my 10, then she goes, oh, the lien's going to come off the car, I can now sell the car. So the writ of attachment creates an unsecured debt. Municipal liens, like water liens, they go on the homeowner. They go on the property. So be careful for you landlords. If your water bill doesn't get paid by the tenant, it actually will show up as a lien on your house and the tenant has moved away. That's why water's included a lot, so that it happens. Bail bond liens, ask my brother. No, wait, no, never mind. If you've got equity in your house and you need to bail somebody out, they will put a second lien on your property, give you the cash, you bail them out, and then you just pay it off at some other point. All right? Works just like everything else. We're not going to really talk about corporate liens and the IRS tax liens. Now, the IRS tax liens are one that, unless they just changed the rule, IRS actually plays by the rule. Meaning they come in order, don't they?
They do, say that again.
The IRS tax liens come in order. They don't move to the top. I think they play by rule.
Yeah,
They come in fourth or third. So if you got a question about paying your real estate taxes or your IRS lien, I pay my real estate taxes first because they're going to wipe everything out and take your property. Now, don't get me wrong. The IRS might take your property, but it's going to be a lot longer before that happens than the other. Lydia?
Years ago, I worked at IPS, and I hadn't paid my
IPS, the four most dangerous letters in education.
and I got paid. My check was like half gone. They garnished my wages from my property tax.
They garnished your wages for your property tax?
Yeah, because I worked at IPS.
Because you worked at I've never heard of them garnishing property taxes. I don't know. Not saying it didn't happen, because the state does a lot of weird stuff that you see go on that you don't know where it comes from. All right, any questions on this chapter? The big key point to remember for those of you at home is to draw that little chart. Think about that. You got specific on lien on one side, you got general lien on the other. Specific lien then breaks out into voluntary, involuntary, and vendor. And then those values are derived either equitable or statutory. All right? On the general lien, always involuntary, but yet their value comes from statutory or equitable as well. So there, you can see that there's a lot of similarities. The big thing you need to remember, specific lien only attaches to real property. General lien attaches to in persona, the person. Personal property, real property, and your body. Okay? Any questions on how this worked? All right, coming up next, the appraisal.